Summer heat is a way of life in California. Every year, workers across the state become ill from exposure to excessive heat. Most cases happen during the first few days of working in hot weather. Heavy activity, lack of time to adjust to the new conditions, and wearing clothes that hold in body heat can increase the risk of heat-related illnesses, including heat rash, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke, which can be deadly. Do you have employees that work in the heat? Here are some things you need to provide to help protect them from heat illness. 1. Plenty of water. Water must be free of charge, as close as possible to where the employee is working, fresh, pure, and suitably cool. Provide 1 quart of water per hour for each employee. That means a 10-person crew working an 8-hour shift requires 80 quarts or 20 gallons of water. Use the following formula to determine how much water your crew needs. Number of people times hours of work times 0.25 to convert from quarts to gallons equals the number of gallons per shift. If you can't provide the water all at once, make sure to replenish throughout the day. More importantly, encourage your employees to drink it on a regular basis, even if they aren't thirsty. And remind your employees that when it comes to hydration, water is the best option. 2. Plenty of shade or cool-down areas. Allow and encourage employees to take a cool-down rest period whenever they need one. This cool-down should last at least 5 minutes to be effective. For outdoors, shade must be as close as possible to where your employees are working, and there must be enough shade to accommodate everyone taking a rest at the same time. If outdoor temperatures are above 80 degrees, or if an employee requests it regardless of the temperature, you must have shade available. Buildings or trees can provide shade for your workers. Use pop-up canopies or shade trailers if natural shade is not available. Indoor regulations take effect when the work environment reaches 82 degrees. Employees must have access to a cool-down area where the temperature is cooler than 82 degrees and shielded from radiant heat sources. 3. An emergency plan. If an employee shows symptoms of heat illness, help them right away. Coworkers should be ready to act immediately. Steps they can take include calling for emergency medical response. If in a remote area, send someone out to the entrance to guide emergency crews when they arrive. Monitoring the affected worker and providing aid, such as helping them cool off with wet towels or fans, elevating their feet, loosening clothing, and so on. Finding water and, if possible, moving the person either to shade or an air-conditioned environment. Notifying management of the situation. Talk to your employees about what's in your emergency response plan, and make sure all employees, including supervisors, are trained on your plan. 4. A plan to help your employees adjust to the environment. It can take up to 14 days for workers to acclimate to heat, and it's important to train them on how to do that. Here are some ways you can help. Reduce the intensity of the workload or shift length with the onset of heat. Consider starting the workday earlier to beat the heat. Gradually increase the duties as employees get used to the conditions. Remind employees to wear loose-fitting, lightweight clothing unless they're working near heavy machinery. During a heat wave, monitor all employees, especially new ones, those returning from extended leave, and those moving to the area from a cooler climate. 5. Heat illness prevention training. Train your employees before they begin work if there's any risk of heat illness. The training must be specific to your heat illness plan and procedures and should cover the following: the different types of heat illness and their causes, how your employees can recognize heat illness symptoms in themselves and in coworkers, the environmental factors specific to your workplace, like temperature and humidity, and how to execute your emergency plan, including first aid. If you have an employee with a health condition such as diabetes, pregnancy, heart issues, or asthma, you may need to consult with them one-on-one since they may be subjected to a higher risk of heat illness and may need to take additional precautions. Also, take the time to work with your employees on identifying heat index levels and hourly forecasts each day. This information is easily available through cell phone apps and the internet. For indoors, use an accurate thermometer to measure and assess the temperature of the work environment. 6. A written prevention plan. This is not only important for the health of your employees, it's also required by law. Your plan must be in writing in both English and the language understood by most of your employees. It must be made available at your workplace and outline specific procedures for providing sufficient water, access to shade, emergency response procedures, adjusting to the heat, and heat illness prevention training. Be aware that some industries are required to implement high heat procedures when outdoor temperatures reach or exceed 95 degrees. These procedures include increased monitoring of all employees for alertness and heat illness symptoms, conducting a pre-shift meeting to review the signs and symptoms of heat illness, and requiring employees to take a minimum 10-minute preventive cool-down rest period every 2 hours. Even if your industry isn't covered by these high heat requirements, consider using them. For more information, visit safeatworkca.com. Thanks for watching.